I believe we are now live on Facebook. So for all the people who are seeing us live on Facebook and the people who will join us later or are going to have a look at this video later on our YouTube page and otherwise, a very warm welcome to Coffee and Childhood by Kids OK Please. Yet another session. This is part 2 of our last week's session that we had on equal parenting. And what a fabulous topic, what a fabulous response we've got. And really looking forward to interacting with all our 3 panelists. Let me quickly, begin by introducing all 3 of them. Firstly, they've been extremely patient. Let me tell you that we were supposed to begin this at 3 o'clock, and unfortunately, there were some technical glitches. But as they say that all parents they have this inherent patience. So I think that's what we've seen from all our panelists today as well. I'll begin by introducing my first panelist, Mr. Mahendra Garodia. He's the CEO of Chanakya Business Sutras. He's the author of Chanakya Business Sutras. He's a specialist in family business, professionalizing for growth and succession. And he's a career counselor based on money personality of the individuals. Fabulous to have you here.
Thank you.
In childhood, and really looking forward to understanding a lot more on your theory or understanding of equal parenting and posing some questions thereby. Our second panelist is Moksh Juneja. He's the CEO of Avignata Incorporated. He runs a digital agency. Avignata is the name of the agency, which was founded in 2007. He's worked on over 350 digital projects himself. He was a past president of Wikimedia India, and he's a father to 2 daughters and also a pet parent to 2 cats. So I'm sure there's a lot of equal parenting out there. So welcome on the show.
Thank you, Ritesh, for having me.
No, it's absolutely our pleasure, and we always thank our panelists who take time out from their schedule to be with us and just to share, what their experience as a parent or someone who's part of the larger ecosystem, which is influencing childhoods at several levels is. So welcome again, Moksh. On to our third and final panelist, Durva Sharma. She's an entrepreneur. She's an educationist. Most of you all would have heard of Toddler's Den. So she owns the company Toddler's Den, and she runs it. It's a school, and she's also part of WIN, which is Women in Need, the NGO. The scrumptious slice owner, proprietor, owner, principal of Toddler's Den school. She's a motivational speaker, horticulturalist, and a landscaper by passion, avid food blogger, and a passionate baker. She's a mother of 2, and also a single parent. So fantastic having you here, Durva. Really looking.
Pleasure is all mine. I'm so happy being a part of this esteemed panel, and you as the moderator, all the more good.
Thank you. Since we didn't get a chance to interact earlier, I'll quickly, tell you about Kids OK Please and also what I do. So I look after land transaction advisory for West India with JLL. That's what I do full time. I'm a broker consultant with the #1 real estate consulting firm of the country. And I'm a father to 2 twin boys. They've just turned in June. And me and my partner, Karan Jain, we decided back last year, the co-founder of Kids OK Please, that we need to do something, which is going to change the real estate around us. And that's where Kids OK Please was born. And we felt that childhood is such a privilege that everyone deserves to have a marvelous one. And what better way to do than to create a platform which can enable parents to plan things better, get experiences to their children in a much faster and a cheaper way, and also give them their first exclusive membership that should arrive. So whereby they simply log in and they participate in whatever interest they have. So Kids OK Please is a mobile application, so to say, but we've not launched the mobile application now. It's all happening online and on our social pages. And part of Kids Okay Please is Coffee and Childhood, which you are a part of right now as panelists. And for the people who've tuned in now or are going to see this later, I'll tell you that Coffee and Childhood is one place where we invite professionals or people from the ecosystem who are also parents to come and talk about and express their side of the story. I can tell you, parent is one individual, one entity, who typically just absorbs what the world has to say. How do you do parenting and everything? Rarely do they get a chance to, express themselves as parents. So Coffee and Childhood does that. And I'm hoping that the next 60 minutes that you're going to be with us is all about, hearing the three panelists on this topic of equal parenting. Let me begin with Moksh with you. I want to ask you very quickly, while I've introduced you in very few words, tell me about your journey of parenting thus far, and what's your biggest source of support in your journey of parenting. Our audience would like to know that before we dwell more into our topic for today. But what's your journey as a parent been, and which is your strongest support as a parent?
So journey, so let me just say this: when you hold the child for the first time, and your very own child for the first time, and you're like, you are mixed of emotions. So when I held Vedika for the first time, it was like, abhi, there's going to be so much responsibilities on you, so many expectations out of you. So, and expectations are one that you yourself create, and there are these expectations that are, from your own parents, and then expectations from others, starting with, कि बच्चे को कैसे बांधना है, north में अलग है, इधर अलग है. So, it's starting from there, and then suddenly you realize that, there is nothing called the perfect parent or nothing called the perfect father. So over a period of time, what I realized personally, and of course, when you're asking who's that one support, I think that immediate one support is, of course, my wife. Okay? And, but more importantly, I would say both our parents, like my wife's parents and even my parents. So, that entire ecosystem, like we know that there is someone out there if we need to do something, just the two of us or just one of us alone. So that entire ecosystem, when it's created for you, I think that brings in a lot. So I know we don't live in a joint family anymore, but it's like, that there is someone out there who's going to be taking care of the kids, just if you need that 10-minute break to go down and buy bread, as simple as that. So I think that's one thing definitely there. And even as a father, when you are given those sense of responsibilities, you are never prepared for any one of them. Okay. And believe me, even if I went on to Google, I even went on looking for books, none of the books are actually even gender neutral, leave alone targeting fathers. They are all probably books that I was able to find, or texts that I was able to find, was all about mothers. But yeah, so the journey has been, I think, fun. It's been a learning experience like any other journey that you could probably say. And you have, these two kids of mine, they come up with certain ideas in their heads, and God alone knows where they come up from. And then you're never prepared with those answers either. Some of them and some of them you just don't know. So
well, thanks, Moksh, for giving us a very quick understanding about your journey. And I'll move on to Durva very quickly. You are a parent to two children, and I'm going to pose the same question to you. What's been your journey? What's been your strongest support? And at the same time, I know that because you're a principal of Toddlers Den, there is a different affinity to the children's, because you're not thinking only for two children, you're thinking of hundreds of children, and so many parents depend on you. So talk to us about your journey thus far, and who is the strongest support, or who are those people who are making this absolutely fantastic for you?
To tell you the truth, it has been a journey which has like taken me uphill and downhill at the same time. And I'm a parent to two young adults now. My elder one is 20, almost 25. My younger one is 20. So the journey with them has been super fantastic. And as a parent, I feel I'm a very, very proud parent. And we all are, of course. Children are our world. And I think, जैसे कहते हैं ना पुराने लोग भी, हम खाते कमाते अपने बच्चों की वजह से, उन्हीं के लिए. अगर बच्चे नहीं हैं, तो we are like, what are we doing in this world then? Had our parents thought that don't need children like the current generation thinks they don't need children, then the world would have not been a better place. Because children are the ones who make it better for us. I think when a father gets back home, he looks forward to hugging the child more than anybody else in the house, because the child keeps waiting and waits for the parent to arrive. In today's time, both the parents are working. So when I became a parent, I was not working. I was a housewife, and I was happy doing that. And when my elder one was born, way back in '95, so it was totally a different scenario for me. But I had my marriage very early, and I became a parent very early. So it's like it was a bag of mixed emotions. I was just like coming to terms with the fact that I'm married, and then I was a parent. But we all know, with parenting comes a lot of responsibility, and hence it happened with me also. But the journey has been fantastic, and my biggest support were, of course, my in-laws. My mother-in-law was a fantastic woman. I mean, like, I owe even the way my children were born. I had normal deliveries. I owe it to her. Today, girls, they shy away from all this. But I think working all along till the last time when I had my babies was just because of my mother-in-law. And of course, my mother also. So it was a great team effort. And my support system have been my two mothers. My mother-in-law is no more, but my mother is right there. And both of them have been great in supporting and shaping the lives of my children today.
Fantastic. There's no replacement of a mother. I'll move on to our third panelist, Mahendra. Talk to us about your parenting journey. Tell our audiences about that, and again, biggest influence, biggest support system for you as a parent.
हम लोग काफी समय से बात कर रहे हैं कि एक इकोसिस्टम होता है. It takes a village to bring up the child. So, being working on the family business side, and myself coming from a business family, when I got my children, I understood that it was my responsibility that whatever I have learned till date from my parents and joint family and other learnings, I have to start living, because they will be watching me now, and they will learn more from my actions than from what I teach them, because children they are not very good at listening, but they are very good at copying. So I became very responsible since then, and it's been 18 years now. My son just turned 18 this March, and my daughter turned 17 yesterday on 15th August. So I have two kids, 17 years daughter and 18 years son, and it's been very challenging, because the more intelligent the kids are, the more they question you about many things, and especially when they become teens and they ask many different sort of questions, why you should do this and that, and it's being very challenging. At the same time, it would not be wrong to say that child is a father of man. You take a rebirth when you become a parent. It's not that you are teaching them or trying to parent them, they are watching you and making you very cautious about how to go ahead in life, because now you are responsible, and they will be watching you all along, and they will be asking questions, and you have to give them a better example. um, I belong to ISKCON family, Hare Rama Hare Krishna family, and there my guru also taught me that the best thing you can do for your children is to give them a good example. And I have been living those words since my children were born, and even I am trying to leave to carry forward now in that same way, that they look up to me as an example, as a worthy example of what they would like to become in their life. So that I would say. बाकी तो हमारे दोनों पैनलिस्ट ने काफी कुछ इकोसिस्टम और सबके बारे में बता दिया है. This is my personal journey.
So these are three things: gender neutral parenting, homeschooling, and the idea of, you know, putting everything together. What out of these three are would you think that is the most relevant, or something that you would want to express yourself about? I'll start with Durva this time. Which out of these three, or all three put together, if you want to, talk about it, or express your thoughts around it, as a trend, something that you would have done back then, or something that you're seeing because you're interacting with so many parents as a principal of toddlers, then what are your thoughts?
Well, my children are out of all this because now one is working, the other one is at Srishti College of Design, Bangalore. So he, as it is, has to have that screen time. So COVID or no COVID, that's the way they operate. And since the elder one is with Nielsen, so he's all the time, he's a data analyst. So he all the time is on, he has that screen time on. So now they are out of it. But being the principal of a school, and in this COVID situation, it is a challenge for us to hold those classes, because my school is from PG, playgroup, till 5th grade. So the children are so small, they don't understand the meaning. What for them, a tab or a computer is something they play games on, or the mobile, in fact. So coming to terms with the fact that they have to sit and study with it is a challenge. Then second thing, I live in a place where women, yeah, today the times are changing, but again, out of all the states in our country, Rajasthan is one state where women are not as forward as other states. Here, the gender biased roles are very, very, like, they are still in, what should I say? They're still happening over here. That ये आदमी को करना है, ये औरत को करना है. इसके अलावा there is no other way. The woman has to sit home. She would prepare food. She's the one who does that. Children, they grow up seeing that. Then the women are not well versed with the electronic media, how to handle computers. So the knowledge is very limited. Fathers would say, we don't have time, we have to go to work. How does the child study? The children are so small. Then the screen time issue is there. So the lot of issues compiled together, compounded together, has somewhere or the other the education part of it being like, it is suffering a lot. And screen time in a place like Delhi and Mumbai, children are like, they are studying. There are schools in Rajasthan also, in Jaipur also, where we have children studying, but the parents are complaining. Children are having issues in their eyesight. The exposure of the screen is so much that the child is losing interest in study. Then at the other end, the child doesn't want to study. Parents के हाथ ही नहीं आता. मुझे नहीं बैठना. I don't want to do it. So these are real issues that the children are facing. I, hands down, coming to school, sitting in a classroom, doing the blackboard work with a pencil in your copy, that's the only way education should work. The screen time is a big no-no. For a little while is okay. So right now what I'm doing, I'm sending content, I'm making videos, the teachers are making videos, and we are sharing it with the children. No online classes. I'm strictly against online classes.
Fair enough.
It's
Fair.
childish.
I actually concur with that view that the screen time has to be as limited as possible. And even if your child is in front of the screen, I take that you would be okay. Even if it is for 10 minutes, the parent should be there explaining what they're seeing, because the child doesn't know what's going on out there. He'll always see the picture of a horse. But till the time he actually sees a real horse, he never understand the meaning of it. So the idea of education in physical presence is absolutely different and is unmatched. So point well taken on that one. I'll move on to Mahendra ji on this. Your thoughts, which is the one trend or a bundle of it that you really want to express yourself out here based on your experience or based on what you're seeing amongst your colleagues or just generally around you?
Obviously, the most important and relevant and dangerous trend which is going on is screen time. So I was very lucky in that sense that I and my wife, we agreed together that we'll not have a television in our house. Since the children were very small, we gave them the habit of reading books. We read with them, and we inculcated that habit that helped them in getting knowledge from the books, and we encouraged them to play with their friends.
Your recommendation to parents would be that avoid
Highly recommend books.
read books with them, for them, make
Yes.
and introduce the world to them.
Yes.
In that way, not just leave it to the television
And that is the first thing. The second is give them option of playing in open space. I used to take them to some garden or some open area to play every Sunday. Make it a point. Every Sunday, take them for some more physical activity and play. Put them to all activity classes which are available around you. The school may be not a very big school, all inclusive and all. It may be a normal school. You save money there, but then you put the money into all sort of activities. My daughter has done dance classes. My son has done cricket classes, football classes, karate classes. So all types of physical, because children need a lot of engagement. They have a lot of energy. And as the children become teens, what we took care was their friends, because the first influence that comes from in the children is either through the television or through the books, through the playground friends. And next, as they become teens, you cannot stop the mobile and things, because you may not have television in your house, but today nobody requires television. They have laptops and iPads and mobiles. So what is very important is that you encourage them to have outside friends, real physical world friends, and you invite their friends at every occasion and whenever possible to your house. Because if their friends come to your house and interact with you very nicely, you have a chance to monitor them and tell your children how to be, with what kind of people you should have friendship with, and what kind of friends you should make, and what influence they may have in your life. So, and now obviously after 15 years, Chanakya himself says that after 15 years, it's time to become friends with your children.
Right.
So,
right. I think the term that you've used, values, more often than not, children are a reflection of what their parents have done or created. They've seen what their parents have done in front of them.
absolutely.
It stays with them. I yet remember something which had happened. A very good memory or a very ordinary memory with my parents, and it stays. So values and the reflection that you want your children to have is going to be based on your actions. So completely agree with that. Very, very good points. Coming to Moksh, your kids are obviously younger, and I want to know your thoughts around the three trends that we spoke of. Yeah.
I'm still in the formative stages where, like Mahendra ji also mentioned, they're going to look at us and copy us. So So I clearly see that happening, but if I have to pick and choose and give my own like an example of what we have been dealing with in terms of homeschooling versus online schooling, that's the first one. If I have to give my comments on, I think, believe me, these new set of kids. Okay, so my daughters are 4 and 6. They understand how to use technology like nothing. So like sometimes even I wouldn't know those buttons. And believe me, I run a digital agency. So here's the point. Here I am professionally conflicted versus my personal stanza. Now moving on to the, like, if I have to talk about screen time, like if I was given a choice, I would rather even make them learn coding when it's the right time for them to learn. But now coming to the homeschooling element, I have seen teachers grow while from their first session till today. Like I have seen their interactions becoming confident in front of the laptop with a 4-year-old senior KG student, which is my daughter. Yeah, but that's from the teacher's point. So now if I have to tell you about one of our clients is also on Ticklinks, which is into putting these syllabus and the amount of effort that goes into the teaching and homeschooling. I see. Here's the point: the teachers are doing their bit. I think homeschooling as an individual thing, it doesn't just gel into me per se, but you need to repeat that kind of a subject at home once again with the kids. Immaterial of what their age group would be, at least my children, I think it's best for them to get that kind of a revision, so that that lesson or that concept sinks in, and it's like a practice also which works for them. So will only homeschooling work? I'm not an educationist, so I will not be able to communicate, but homeschooling as a concept, I think it's a must that one of the parents should sit as to what has happened in the school gets repeated at home. So that I am a complete, a thumbs up to that. Talking about screen time, so like I was mentioning, very conflicted at a very individual level because that's a digital agency. Plus, I have to limit the time for my kids. Very conflicted. So that's where the wife comes in, or the mother comes in, saying, and it's a very clear thing. You can only watch TV till a certain time. So that certain time is including us. So even we watch TV till that certain time. so, so as a parent, it kind of becomes very important to practice what you preach, and literally screen time is there. So like one of you were also mentioning about usage of phones. We have tried to refrain. I'm not saying we are the best at it, but try to refrain using of phones. iPad, in the most fictitious matter, has been thrown out of the window at least 12 times. Like, we have thrown the iPad away, but yeah, it always comes back and they see it again somewhere. But the way they have grasped for my 4-year-old and even 6-year-old, they know the volume buttons, they know the stop and play, they know the mute, they know the video buttons, everything they know now. And that's why I'm actually praising also the screen time, and at the same time, it's like you have to play the devil's advocate and say, you know what, you're having a 3-hour session, you better just sleep it off for 15 minutes and just give rest to your eyes. So that's where I would personally come in, and I kind of agree with my wife also. Too much screen time also doesn't make sense. So like Mahendra ji also was mentioning, so lockdown is kind of a blessing in disguise also to get spend time with the kids every evening. Okay, every evening, come what may. Now we are not taking our kids outside because they are under 10, so we never took them out. So we always ended up at the terrace, always in the evening. So they got that physical activity, running around on the terrace. That physical activity kind of became very important, and that is something that they were looking forward to. Now, if I have to tell you about reading, they look forward to one of us reading something out to them also. So I'm thinking we are making, small baby steps. I'm not saying we are like the perfect parent out there, but we are making those baby steps saying that you need to try everything out and then have an opinion saying, I don't like it and I like it. And it amazes me. I don't remember which is that. So we were reading these princess stories to the elder one, which is 6 years old, Vedika. And I asked her, which is your favorite story? And she said, assuming it's Cinderella. So she said it's Cinderella because there's no magic in it. It's all real. And I was like, wow, I never thought about thinking of a story without a magic and I would really like it. But, you come to know so many new things from them. It's amazing. Now, the last, gender neutral. So, between the four of us, I live in minority. So it was exactly opposite where my father, my brother, my mother, and we were there. So my mother was in the minority between the four there. So it's like role reversal here. So I think we have grown up. As a parent also, I don't think that needs to be inculcated. I think again they will look at us as to how we approach a boy or approach a girl, and that differentiation is not there. They look at us. So even when my cousins had come over, my parents did not behave or distinguish between them, and I have seen that happen. So cautiously, I don't think I have to make that effort because that is clear there. I'm not making a distinction between you're a boy, you can't do this, you're a girl, you can't do this. So that's what, like, I used to love going to the kitchen and making my own food too. I still do, but since my wife is a better chef, I refrain from doing that. So,
I want to now move on to individual questions, which I feel that the audiences would want to hear. I'm going to go to Mahendraji on this. The ways in which mothers and fathers parent are different. Okay, and in your experience, how do children benefit through these different styles? Would you want to talk about that so that our audiences could pick that up? Because you've seen the journey with your children. So what do children pick up from parenting? From a father and from a mother, and your thoughts around that.
Actually, it is parenting. It is not mothering or fathering. It is parenting. So children will pick up whatever they want to pick up. But the best game their children like to play is that when the mother says do this, they say, okay, let me ask father. And when the father says, let's do like this, okay, let us talk to mother first. So they will get the father and mother to against each other, and they will take the opinion whichever they like. And if the father and mother are not in agreement, then the children take the liberty to do whatever they want, because they say that you are yourself not in agreement. And therefore, the father and mother in coming in agreement on certain things is very, very important for passing on the correct values to the children. Wherever there is a difference of opinion, the children will take up to whatever they feel that they want to do, and will not be able to pass on any values or things or whatever we have learned from our experiences or mistakes in life. Will not be able to pass it on to them. So coming together as a couple in a nice way with common goals and values is very important for the children to learn them, inculcate them. Because for the child, it is not that I respect my father more or mother more, but I will listen to wherever they agree first. If they don't agree, then I will see from where I have to learn whatever things. So then he's out of your ambit, or then they will do whatever, and you are in one sense responsible for misguiding them or misleading them or letting them go astray, for not being able to give them a united picture. So that is very, very important thing. And then comes the very specific question that what mothers can do and fathers can do. As I said that both play a very important role together, but still little bit lad ladana, thoda bachche ko pyar karna, that is more of the motherly side of the thing. And a little more disciplining part comes to the fatherly side of the thing, because mothers also like that. Okay, if the child is misbehaving or something throughout the day or something, sham ko aane dete papa ko. So some distance is there with the father. So disciplining is little bit more the work of the father. And when the father becomes a little too strict or something, then little bit थोड़ा प्यार से पटा के पापा को भी मना लेंगे, बोल देंगे, child का side लेना, that is little bit the side of the mother. But otherwise, parenting is a joint work, joint responsibility.
That's a wonderful thought. I'm definitely picking up something from this, and I'm sure other parents would also. But on the contrary view, I'll tell you that my wife is the disciplinarian.
Okay.
And I ensure that I'm bathing my children every day. I'm spending that time with them because I know that there is going to be a time and point where that father son or a father child relationship is going to kick in. And when that kicks in, you will not be able to enjoy the childhood. So I'm enjoying it while it lasts.
Yeah.
I'm going to move on to Durva here for an individual question. I have two for you actually. One is, as I mentioned, that you're a principal of toddlers then, and there is so much of responsibility. You're that additional parent. Your school is that additional parent, to all the parents that are there. In your experience, and what is it that you recommend to the children the parents of the children who come to toddlers den? What is it that you recommend, that what should they be doing beyond what is being done in school, so that there is a concept of equal parenting which is going on? Because there is something that you're doing in school which is so structured, which is nice, which is going to give you a certain result today or tomorrow. But what goes on at home, every house is a different story. It could be economical, it could be psychological, it could be anything, which can completely bring the child down with the parents. Because if the parents are not strong, they'll pass that on to the children, and everything's going to go on to that little one. They may just shout at them thinking that it's okay to shout. Then I'll go and hug them and they'll be fine. That is wrong. So what do you recommend to them, as someone who owns, someone who's a principal of toddlers den, in terms of equal parenting? What should they be doing? And I'll ask my next question later, but I want to know this one first.
Now, to tell you the truth, Ritesh, what I have always told the parents of my school children, is that let your child be. Just don't overimpose things on them, and stop the use of no. Stop saying no to them. This is one negative negative word that should be out of your dictionary. Divert them. Children are small, and they for everything you say no to, they would think, okay, fine, har baar to no hi kaha jata hai na. Eventually, I can do it. So wait for my time and I'll do it. तो क्या ना, वो बेकहे होते चले जाते हैं. तो वो बेकहापन जो है वो हम ही सिखाते हैं. Parents come to me and tell me, ma'am, बिल्कुल बिगड़ गया है यहाँ से. The moment the school is over, when we walk to our place or we drive them to our place, they will get down at the supermarket and they want Kinder Joy. Now, I said, now ma'am, was the child born with this? No. At some point of time, आपने उसकी जिद पूरी की. जब आपको उससे कोई काम निकालना था या आपको उसको दूर रखना था, and you were doing something else. So they started thinking, and they said, yes ma'am, you are right. It is us who give them this say privilege or the loose end to yes go on. लेकिन जब हमें अचानक realize होता है कि हमारा बच्चा तो उसको ट्रेंड बना लिया है, then we say no, stop now. So the child is confused. Parent come to me saying, ma'am, ये मोबाइल नहीं छोड़ते. I said, अच्छा क्यों नहीं छोड़ते? Was he born with it? तो हंसेंगे. No ma'am. So I said, listen, when the two of you, आप अपनी सहेली के साथ जब in-laws की और इधर की और उधर की बुराई कर रही थी ना, तो जब बच्चा यूं करता आया था ना, मम्मा सुनो मेरा एक क्वेश्चन का आंसर दो, आपने क्या किया था? You gave the phone in his hand, and the child was busy, and you were busy talking. So now when the child wants the phone all the time, why are you stopping him? I have two, I told you, and they are grown up. They did not get a phone till 12th grade, and I'm not lying. In today's times also, ऐसा नहीं है कि yesteryear के हैं मेरे बच्चे. While growing up, the mobile phone was there, but I never gave them the phone. I said, बेटा आपको जरूरत जो होगी, आप जहां जा रहे हो मुझे मालूम है, वहां पे फोन है, I will call you. And that way I taught them to inform me wherever they were going. They were cycling, they were going to a friend's place, they had a landline, and I used to speak to the parent. Bachcha pahunch gaya, fine. So I like being the wind beneath their wings, rather than telling them, now just, अच्छा, you answer me one. आपके सबके छोटे छोटे बच्चे हैं, मुझे एक बात का आंसर दीजिएगा. हम बच्चों को मारते हैं, अक्सर पेरेंट्स मारते हैं. They tell them that spare the rod and you spoil the child. हम क्यों मारते हैं बच्चों को? What is the answer to this? What would you say if you say हम बच्चों को, जो भी पेरेंट मारता है, कभी भी आपने अपनी वॉइस भी रेज की हो या बच्चे को थप्पड़ दिखाया हो, क्यों किया? Can you answer? I'm asking the question.
Often than not is your inability to handle the situation. But if you were to ask me, अगर मैंने कभी if I've raised my voice at my child, it's only to stop him from doing something, or which I think reflects, and I typically at the end of the day, me and my wife would sit down and we talk about that. Today I did raise my voice at them. And I go down with the guilt of it. So I probably am not the best person to answer that. Maybe Moksh can take that one. Moksh, you want to respond to that? Because I don't know. I mean, hitting is completely off for me, but no, yeah.
Hitting is a big no-no.
So hitting, of course, is a no-no for me also. So I don't think I intend to or plan to.
Sir, आपकी
or
बेटियां
even
हैं.
unintentionally also.
You'll never hit them. Boys are brats. Boys are brats.
But
like Ritesh will have a tough time rearing boys, and girls are more pliable. But in today's times, I think both are a handful.
Yeah. So, but I think raising a voice, I'll tell you what intent. Even like I'm giving you the last 3 months, I'm sitting and working, and they will be sitting on the chair next to me and doing this again and again, and I feel that they will just fall off. Like as simple as that, I'm trying to focus on finishing a presentation and they will keep playing with the pen. So I'm saying, and that's when I kind of lose it. And then I shut down my presentation and I say, tell me what you want. You get out of the system and then let me come back to this.
No, I would like to intervene here.
And then sometimes it doesn't work that way either. And then I have to call out. I have to call out my wife. Please take one of them from me. I can handle only one at a time.
Why don't you do one thing? Why don't you divert them?
Yeah,
there should be a diversion. Instead of saying no, instead of calling out your wife and the child enjoying it, कि papa to helpless feel करे, and they do enjoy it.
Yeah.
When my younger one was little, one day he was doing something really which was not required, and I was just raising my voice. I was shouting at him. So थोड़ी देर तक तो देखता रहा, and then when I stopped, he said, "Mama, और बोलो ना." I was like, "What? He's enjoying it." That was the day I told myself, "No, this is not going to happen again. I'm not going to raise my voice." I talk to them very calmly, and when I'm calm and composed and not shouting, they know she means business. They have to listen to that then. So now to answer what I asked, we hit children because we tell them, or hit or raise our voices, that we are the boss. But आपकी नहीं चलेगी, हमारी चलेगी क्योंकि हम बड़े हैं. Now that should not be there.
Yeah.
The children should know what is wrong and what is right, rather than telling them we are the boss. So no raising of voices and no hitting them at all. Divert their minds. जिद करता है बच्चा, क्यों करता है? हम सिखाते हैं उसे जिद. The child is never, पापा पे गया अपने, मम्मी पे गया अपनी, जिद्दी है. No, we teach them that zid. We tell them how to go about अपनी बात मनवाते कैसे हैं. जिद करो, क्यों? कभी न कभी हमने उनके आगे की होगी अपनी बात मनवाने के लिए. So it's always a better idea to divert them rather than fulfilling their whims and fancies and letting them. मैंने देखा है बच्चों को दुकान के आगे लौटते हुए, I want this, I want this, I want this, and the parent is like, बहुत जिद्दी है, फादर पे गया आपने, बहुत जिद्दी है, मदर पे गया आपने, दिला दो. Now that should not be there. The child should understand तो Charity begins at home. बच्चे को जो ट्रेनिंग देनी है वो हम घर पे देंगे, हम अपने बीच में बिठा के देंगे. And the confidence, majorly, the confidence that your mom and dad are right behind you whenever you need them, and be the wind beneath their wings, is my motto. And this I extend to all the children in school as well. And मैं तो parent की class लगा लेती हूँ अगर मुझे पता चल जाए कि बच्चे को मारा था, and they're scared of that.
No, I think it's the most heinous thing that someone can do. Firstly, I mean, my philosophy would be, and for everyone who's listening, very simply, if you're hitting your child, who is he safe from in this entire world? The parents are the only people he's going to feel the most safe with. So you cannot, idly hit your child. But I think, the principal here, she has brought out such an important point and equated hitting is not the only way of hitting. Raising your voice is also. So for all the people who are today, next time you're bossing around on your child or you're raising your voice on your child,
it is just a frustration. It is just a frustration that we take out on the child. That shouldn't happen. That should not happen.
A fantastic takeaway for myself personally and for everyone who's listening to this, because I think we start to discount ourselves that, oh, today it's so tough to manage children, but it was always tough to manage children.
It always was.
It was.
It's not easy to be a parent. It's not at all easy to be a parent. And again, बच्चे कभी भी ना application नहीं लगाते कि हमें पैदा करो. It is a conscious decision of two adults to get a life in this world. So they should be equally responsible.
True.
To rear that child, to give values, and to make that child a better human being. पैसा आ जाता है, चला जाता है, सब कुछ आ जाता है, चला जाता है. आज की डेट में जो याद रखी जाने वाली चीज होती है, बंदा कैसा था. तो उस बंदे को बंदा बनाने में पेरेंट का हाथ होता है और किसी का नहीं हो. No one else can influence. No one else.
I wanna ask one quick line comment from all of you. How has your professional space dominated your style of parenting, or also, or you could answer it this way, that do you talk to your children about what work you do and make them a part of your your professional work that's going on, and what you're actually doing? Because most parents end up saying, I'm doing work, this is my work, I'm doing, you won't understand it. That's a general thought. Do you make them a part of what you're doing? Do you explain to them? Do you let them know about where you're spending a whole lot of your time actually? So quick one, Mahendra ji, to begin with you.
Yeah, my children understand everything, and I share with them everything. Probably my son was 7 or 8 years old. From then onwards, he understands that what my father is.
And you've kept him as a you talk to him, you tell him about, this is what the work I'm doing. You've introduced your your work.
Absolutely. If you want to pass on your legacy to them, you have to involve them.
Yeah, which I will. I know that
you have to involve them from a young age.
I know you're a master of family managed businesses, and you coach people, you help people, you consult.
Yeah.
I had the privilege of having a couple of taking a couple of lectures for an institute in Bombay where family managed business students were there, and they were grade 20 to 30. And I had to obviously do a lot of reading around that. And what I came across, and when I spoke to them also, I think the biggest pitfall is that parents do not introduce their work to their children. They don't share the kind of hard work that goes behind it. They want their children to enjoy all of that. Fair. But if it's family managed business, you want the legacy to move forward, involve them, make them go through the tough part, let them be ready for it, don't give them the throne. So I agree with that part. Durga, your thoughts around the very same thing, that how do you did you speak about your work prior to this, and now also what's your interaction, and what would you recommend to other parents, parents whose children come to your school as well? What's your thought around that? How should they involve? What are your thoughts?
I believe that you should be very transparent with your children. The food that is coming to the table, how have you earned that food? The children should know. It should not be like the child is pointing out, I want this, so I want it. कैसे लाए is not my problem. Of course, it is your problem as well. कैसे आए तभी उसको value होगा. The child is going to value that particular bite, that particular donut that he's having, a particular cake that he's having, or the particular sweet or whatever he's having, that packet of chips. That child would value it only and only when that child knows how has it reached his table. I'm not saying कि उसको हिसाब किताब बताओ. I'm not saying that. लेकिन आपका पेरेंट कितनी मेहनत से वो पैसे कमा रहा है, that जो स्वेट वो बाहर बहाता है, उसकी वैल्यू है, वो बच्चे को पता होनी चाहिए. I'm not talking that you should go tell your 2
There's some network issue at it's connecting.
आज तो मम्मा ये करके आई, आज तो पापा ने किया. No, but gratitude is one thing you should. Hello, yeah, we are connected. So I was saying gratitude is what you should teach your child always, to be thankful.
Fantastic.
To be
That's
thankful.
the word we were looking for, gratitude.
Gratitude.
We missed some part of what you were saying because of network connectivity, but I think
There was some connectivity. No, I was talking about gratitude only. I was saying that the child should know. Don't talk to that about your work, your earnings and stuff to a 2-year-old. But once your child has reached your height, I think जब उसके जूते का साइज आपके जूते के साइज के बराबर हो या उससे बड़ा हो जाए, you should always give them that freedom to ask questions.
Yes.
That you are also answerable to your children. Not only that they are answerable, kahan gaye the, kya parent is the only reason behind it is that I know the 2 of my boys, whatever they are today, they are good human beings. I know that if somebody is in trouble, my children would run and help them. That is my takeaway from life. Make them as good human beings, not money churning machines. Not don't tell them कि तुमको करोड़पति बनना है या पैसे छापने हैं. नहीं, आज के वर्ल्ड को अच्छे human beings की ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है, rather than money churning machines. That follows. That follows. Everything else follows. I know my business, my whatever I'm doing, my children are not going to take it over. No way. One is a data analyst, the other one is an artist. So I know they are going poles apart है उनके काम, but still I keep them involved कि मैं क्या कर रही हूँ.
But
So they know.
Important aspect from a parent's perspective also to constantly connect and communicate where you're spending lion's share of your time, because it should not be that work is happening. What is work? And that needs to be communicated. Same question for you, Moksh.
So I was actually amazed when my daughter, okay, again the elder one, came to me and asked me, "What do you do?" So then I had to tell her, "Listen, we make websites." So then she asked me the very next question, "What is a website?" I was more than happy to open a laptop and take her through. This is a website. This is what we make. Okay. And now since we're working from home, okay, now she actually hears us, both my wife and I are working like with the digital agency, right? So she hears us like we are making this design, we are making this campaign, we are making this creative. Okay, and there's this one resource of mine. For her, all the resources are the same name. So so what she actually ends up is she keeps asking us these questions, and we are more than happy to answer these questions rather than saying nah. But again, what intrigues me more is that what she's listening and then she's, processing it somewhere, and then asking us what does this mean? So that really, makes me feel proud to some extent to even answer it and take her through the entire thing that we actually do. And like, I don't think it's just work, because as a digital agency, we open a laptop, it could be work. so, so as simple as that.
No, yeah, sorry.
No, well, I think that's pretty much it for both of us. I think I can say, as like a equal parent, but I think the kids really need to know what your parents do, and I kind of agree with both the panelists, Dhruva ji and Mahindra ji also. मतलब और इसमें कोई छुपाने वाली बात नहीं है कहीं पे भी. I think it's just that you need to be honest with your child. क्योंकि मतलब अगर वो नहीं रहोगे आप, तो मतलब आपको कितने और झूठ बोलने पड़ेंगे. मेरे को तो उससे घबराहट होती है.
No, I agree. I think for all the listeners who are there who are going to see this video later also, one of the key takeaways from the session of equal parenting for all of us should be that as parents we need to be transparent. We need to communicate. We need to communicate right. We need to be vigilant about what they are doing. Be involved. Because your children are not going to remain children for a long time. They will become independent. They are going to have their own thought, and they are going to become parents someday. So the values that you inculcate right from the early days is going to pay rich dividends. So if you're spending a lot of time, I know we've overshot the time in every possible way and on a Sunday. So thank you once again, Mahindra ji, Dhruva ji, Moksh, all of y'all, where you all have spent a credible amount of time. You have shared your experience with us, and you've become a part of the Kids Okay Please Coffee and Childhood session, where I know my platform is simply providing basic memberships to children, and they're going to probably enroll. They'll go for these activities. I mean, the intent is that as soon as someone, as a parent, where you need a nanny to help you, put the child in place so that you spend quality time. Our app does the same thing. You open the app and you figure out what's around you, so that imagine you go into a museum and not prepared what to tell your child, and you're simply going to walk with them. Then you leave it to school to do that. That means you never enjoyed a museum with your child. So how can you make that experience better? Or when you go to a garden, how can it be better? Or any real estate around you for that matter. And, connect them to the right interest. If you would have heard that a lot of people are spending money on coding classes and art and craft and yoga and all. If the child is not in the right mindset and you paid the money for it and he didn't attend, what you're going to do? You're going to be like, "Arey, isko interest nahi hai, chhod do. Kaun paisa kharab kare?" But the idea is child will generate interest. You need to spend time. Are you in the right mode? Do you like to eat when you're told to eat and you don't want to eat? No, the child is not going to consume something that's going on. So Kids Okay Please is going to create that, where you simply log in, and anytime you want to participate in a yoga or this, we have 9 categories: arts and craft, this and that, your science, technology, yoga and wellness, alt learning, talking to a consultant, where you feel that who will go to a consultant, where can I, but online consulting with your child or yourself as a parent, all of that. And we're not charging people any money. We don't want to do that. We want to in fact bring it at the cheapest cost which is there, because there's something which schools will do, there's something which parents will do, and there's something that we are going to do for you. Let them get introduced at a very early age to their interests, and then help them build onto it. So that's the mission, where KIDS stands for experiences, OK stands for all places OK around you, which are okay for your child to go to, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a park, this and that, hygiene wise. And please is, when these brands or companies or anyone, educators reach out to you and are trying to please you, or trying to make you your consumer, they go to the right person, rather than those blockbuster things which happens at a X big garden, where all the people will put up their stalls and you're interacting with them, and 2 hours spent with your child and you feel, wow, this is the world's best time I've spent with my child. No, you haven't. You've not enjoyed your child's childhood. So you gotta please them in the best way possible. So that's what Kids Okay Please stands for. And I thought I'll take this opportunity to share it with you all. And we hope that while we interact with panelists like you all, we will collaborate at some point of time. We will get to interact again with you all, and have a wonderful week ahead. That's what I can say. Thank you so much for your time once again.
Thank you. Pleasure was all mine.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.